Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins find themselves navigating a crucial off-season phase where bolstering their defensive backfield remains a top priority. Cornerback Rasul Douglas has emerged as a significant target for the team. As training camp approaches, the Dolphins secondary took a hit with the release of Kendall Fuller and the departure of Jalen Ramsey, who was traded after a tumultuous tenure in South Beach. Douglas, an experienced corner with 8 years in the league, offers a potential starting caliber solution to fill that void. The Miami Herald's Barry Jackson recently revealed that contract talks between the Dolphins and Douglas are still ongoing, highlighting the team's clear interest in securing his services. Given Douglas's track record and the Dolphins' current secondary needs, this negotiation is a storyline fans should follow closely, especially as the team looks to tighten up its defense. For the upcoming NFL season, Rasul Douglas's free agent market has been somewhat stagnant this offseason, with few significant developments since the Bills decided to move on from him. The 29-year-old cornerback appears unlikely to return to the Green Bay Packers, a team he was with previously. But Miami's interest signals that other teams could still see value in investing in Douglas early. Indications suggested that the financial gap between the Dolphins and Douglas was narrow, meaning a deal could be imminent. Given Miami's limited salary cap space around $1 million, any contract is expected to be modest. But the team's pressing need in the secondary justifies the potential expenditure. Douglas's experience and interception history make him a logical fit, even if recent performance dips slightly impact his market value for Miami. This signing could be a vital piece in shoring up their backfield. Douglas boasts an impressive resume, including 80 career starts and 14 interceptions over the last 3 seasons combined. Despite a down year with Buffalo in 2023, where his performance did not meet prior standards, he remains a valuable commodity as a third-round pick turned seasoned veteran. Douglas's ability to contribute at a high level is well documented. Miami's defense has been seeking consistency at the cornerback position ever since Ramsey's departure created a vacuum. The team's willingness to pursue Douglas aggressively speaks to their recognition of his skills and leadership potential. While the financial aspect is delicate due to cap constraints, Miami appears ready to take a calculated risk. Douglas could provide stability and veteran savvy, both crucial for a Dolphins secondary aiming to regain its competitive edge. On another front, the Dolphins are also exploring contract options for defensive tackle Zach Sieler, whose impact on Miami's defensive line has grown significantly in recent years. Sieler, coming off back-to-back 10-sack seasons, represents a core player the Dolphins want to retain long-term. Currently, he has 2 years left on his contract, with substantial cap hits scheduled for the next couple of seasons. The Dolphins are reportedly considering an extension that would keep Sieler in Miami beyond his current deal. Importantly, agent Drew Rosenhaus confirmed that Sieler will attend the start of training camp, signaling no immediate intention of holding out despite ongoing talks. This approach shows a level of professionalism and strategic planning from both player and team, aiming to avoid distractions during a critical preparation period. Sieler's attendance at training camp, confirmed by his agent, means the defensive tackle will be present as the Dolphins begin their preseason routines. A key detail given that players seeking new deals sometimes opt to hold out by skipping practices. This tactic, which helps avoid fines while applying pressure on teams, does not appear to be in play for Sieler at this time. The decision about how much on-field participation Sieler will have during camp will be made jointly between the player, his agent, and the Dolphins coaching staff. This measured approach reflects the mutual interest in maintaining a good working relationship and focusing on team success, even amid contract negotiations. It also suggests confidence from both sides that a resolution can be reached without resorting to disruptive tactics, setting a positive tone for the season ahead. Zach Sieler's journey from a 7th-round draft pick to a cornerstone of the Dolphins' defense is a testament to his development and perseverance. At 29, he has steadily increased his workload each season, becoming a full-time starter since 2022. His recent production, including consistent double-digit sack seasons, has elevated his status within the team and the league. Sieler's 2023 season was solid despite missing the games, and his durability over recent years makes him a dependable figure in Miami's defensive front. The extension talks will undoubtedly weigh his proven on-field impact and leadership qualities. The Dolphins see Sieler as a player worthy of a long-term commitment, and both parties seem aligned in wanting to find a deal that secures his future, without compromising team dynamics or salary cap health. The case of Jalen Ramsey's departure from Miami last season serves as a cautionary tale when it comes to handling player extensions. While Ramsey's split with the Dolphins was complicated by personal conflicts with head coach Mike McDaniel, it also highlighted the risks of late or contentious contract negotiations. The Dolphins aim to avoid a repeat scenario with Sieler by addressing his contract proactively. This offseason, Miami's approach seems more measured and collaborative, suggesting lessons have been learned. Retaining key defensive players like Sieler is crucial not just for on-field success, but also for maintaining locker room cohesion. How Miami manages this situation could set a precedent for future negotiations with other core players, underscoring the importance of timing and communication in NFL contract dealings. Looking at the broader defensive picture, the Dolphins remain focused on improving their secondary with at least one outside addition, possibly Rasul Douglas. The team's defensive strategy relies heavily on solidifying its pass defense, a unit that struggled with consistency last year. Douglas's potential signing would provide a veteran presence capable of mentoring younger corners and stepping into a starter's role immediately. Meanwhile, Sieler's extension would lock down the defensive line, ensuring pressure on opposing quarterbacks and strengthening the front seven. These moves together represent a concerted effort by the Dolphins' front office and coaching staff to build a defense capable of contending in the highly competitive AFC East. Fans should expect more developments as training camp unfolds and decisions are finalized. Financially, Miami's limited salary cap space plays a significant role in shaping these negotiations. With roughly $1 million available, the Dolphins have to be strategic and prudent in their spending. This constraint means that any deals made with players like Douglas or extensions with Sieler must balance immediate team needs with long-term fiscal responsibility. The front office's challenge is to maximize value while keeping the roster competitive and compliant with league rules. This tight cap situation also emphasizes the importance of drafting well and developing internal talent alongside these free agent acquisitions and extensions. Miami's ability to manage this delicate balance will be a key factor in determining their success during the upcoming season and beyond. In conclusion, the Miami Dolphins are actively addressing critical defensive needs as training camp kicks off. Rasul Douglas remains a primary target for their cornerback vacancy, with ongoing talks signaling a possible agreement soon. Meanwhile, Zach Sieler's contract situation is unfolding with cautious optimism, highlighting the team's desire to retain their emerging defensive stalwart without disruption. These moves, combined with Miami's cap management challenges, illustrate a franchise carefully navigating the offseason with an eye toward building a strong, competitive defense. Fans should stay tuned as these storylines develop, because how the Dolphins manage these key personnel decisions will have a significant impact on their 2025 campaign aspiration. The anticipation builds as South Beach prepares for what could be a defining season. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? What if I told you that the greatest quarterback in NFL history might not be done shaking up the league just yet? Rumors are swirling, insiders are whispering, and fans are losing their minds over one bombshell of a story that's slowly gaining traction. Tom Brady, yes, that Tom Brady, could be returning to the NFL not as a player, but in a role that might be just as impactful. Reports out of South Florida suggest that the Miami Dolphins are seriously considering bringing in Brady as their next offensive coordinator. You heard that right. After retiring again, dipping his toes into broadcasting and focusing on his many off-the-field ventures, Brady could be swapping the studio chair for a headset on the Dolphins sideline. And if this happens, the entire landscape of the NFL, not just the AFC East, is going to tremble under the weight of this monumental shift. Think about it for a second. Tom Brady mentoring to Tagovailoa, scheming plays for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and orchestrating one of the fastest, most explosive offenses in football. It almost sounds like a Madden fantasy mode scenario, but behind the scenes, whispers are turning into louder conversations. While nothing has been confirmed officially by the Dolphins organization, multiple sources close to team personnel are hinting at serious discussions. And it makes sense when you consider the team's trajectory. Head coach Mike McDaniel is a brilliant offensive mind, but pairing him with Brady's unmatched knowledge of the game could elevate this team to a whole new level. Not to mention, Brady already has a known admiration for the Dolphins, and let's not forget, there was already smoke around Brady's potential involvement with Miami before. Could this be that fire finally catching? Let's rewind a little. Back in 2022, there were already strong rumors connecting Tom Brady to the Dolphins, not just as a player, but also in a potential ownership and executive capacity. The NFL even investigated those talks, and the Dolphins were hit with penalties for tampering. That whole ordeal might have seemed like the end of the story, a closed chapter in Brady's legendary book, but what if it was just a prelude? What if those conversations didn't truly die, and instead, they just went underground, waiting for the right time to resurface? With the Dolphins poised for a deep playoff run and Tua still needing that final developmental leap, the timing feels almost perfect. Brady's not just a name, he's a football mind, a culture setter, and someone who understands the game at a level few ever have. There's also the psychological element. Imagine being a defensive coordinator and realizing you have to go up against an offense designed by Tom Brady. That's a nightmare scenario for any opponent. Brady may not be throwing passes anymore, but his understanding of defensive schemes, tendencies, and in-game adjustments is second to none. If he translates even half of that knowledge into his coaching, the Dolphins' offense could become an unstoppable machine. We've seen former quarterbacks make solid transitions into coaching. Think Kellen Moore or even Josh McCown recently. But Brady, that's a different beast. This is a guy who built an empire in New England, then went to Tampa Bay and won it all again now. He might be ready to build something even greater from the sidelines. Another factor adding fuel to this fire is Brady's well-documented desire to stay connected to the game. Sure, he has his Fox Sports broadcasting deal, but there's been noticeable radio silence about when exactly he'll start. Some even say he's hesitant, that the booth isn't quite scratching that competitive itch. Coaching, however, offers that rush, the adrenaline, the prep, the strategy. It's football in its purest form. And let's not overlook the fact that Brady has always loved proving people wrong. Taking over as an offensive coordinator, especially without any formal coaching background, would raise eyebrows. But if there's anyone who thrives in that type of environment, it's TB12. It wouldn't just be about winning games, it would be about rewriting what post-retirement life can look like for legendary athletes. What would this mean for the Dolphins' locker room? Tremendous impact. Tom Brady walking into that building changes everything. Accountability, preparation, and expectations would all be dialed up overnight. Players would be looking at a living legend every day, someone who's done it all and seen it all. That kind of presence is rare, and it could be exactly what the Dolphins need to get over the hump. For Tua specifically, this could be a career-altering moment. Learning directly from Brady, understanding how to read defenses the way he does, getting feedback from a true master of the position. It's the type of mentorship quarterbacks dream about. It wouldn't just accelerate Tua's development, it could redefine it entirely. And let's be honest, the idea of Brady helping the Dolphins dethrone the Patriots in the AFC East is poetic in every sense. And here's the twist, Brady's presence might not stop at offensive coordinator. There are insiders suggesting this could be part of a broader, long-term play. Some believe Brady's endgame is to move into an executive or ownership role eventually. And this coaching position would be a strategic first step. Gain the trust of the organization, prove your football mind from a different angle, and then rise through the ranks with the same intensity and perfectionism that defined his playing career. It's not unprecedented. John Elway and others have done it. But again, we're talking about Brady here. His ambition doesn't have an off switch. Once he gets in the door, who knows how far he'll go? Dolphins fans might be getting more than just a coordinator. They might be witnessing the start of a new dynasty-building era. Of course, not everyone is thrilled about this possibility. Some skeptics argue that great players don't always make great coaches. They point to examples across sports where legends struggled to translate their game into teaching. But Brady has always been different. His success was never just about talent. It was about obsession, detail, preparation, and leadership. Those are coachable traits. Plus, the Dolphins wouldn't be throwing him into a rebuild. This is a ready-to-win roster with top-tier talent. The risk is relatively low, and the upside is massive. And let's not forget, Mike McDaniel is still the head coach. Brady wouldn't be replacing him. He'd be augmenting him. That partnership could become one of the most innovative and dangerous in the league. If they can find the right chemistry. NFL fans across the country are already buzzing. Social media is lighting up with speculation. Reporters are camped outside the Dolphins facility, and while the team remains tight-lipped, the energy is impossible to ignore. Could we see Brady drawing up plays in Week 1? Could he be the secret weapon that finally unlocks Miami's full potential? It's all still hypothetical for now. But history has taught us one thing when it comes to Tom Brady. Nothing is impossible, whether it's a comeback at age 44, winning a Super Bowl in a new city, or stepping into coaching without missing a beat. He's made a career out of defying expectations, and if this latest rumor turns out to be true, the NFL might once again have to reckon with the man who simply refuses to fade away. So buckle up, folks. Because if this actually happens, it won't just be the Dolphins that change. It'll be the whole NFL. The GOAT may not be done with football after all, and that, in itself, is enough to send shockwaves across the league. The Dolphins as Super Bowl contenders, Brady calling the shots from the sideline. It sounds wild now, but every massive move starts as a whisper, and this whisper, it's growing louder by the day. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!